Hello there. We're just about to start a webinar. Thanks for joining. Give me a couple minutes here to step up. Hey, welcome to today's webinar training. Thanks so much for joining us. We are going to be talking about local SEO. Wanna s- I need to close some things here. How about now? Any feedback? I see a couple of people have joined us. Appreciate that. You're probably just laughing, having a good time because I'm trying to figure out this technology. All right. Might have fixed it. Okay, I think we're just going to start over here. Welcome to today's webinar training. We're going to be talking about local SEO and how to dominate in the basement waterproofing space through local SEO. Super excited about today. There's some great content. Let me tell you about some of the things we're going to be talking about. We're going to talk about ranking factors, the Google algorithm trends that are happening, that how important categories are. Um, that we're going to there's a lot of ranking factors, but I'm just going to hit the top ones because it could be a lot of information. I want you to be able to consume it and not just throw a bunch of stats out at you. I do need to say something about disavowing spammy links. There's some new information on that, and there's a lot more. So, why is local SEO so important? Let me give you 5 really important reasons. If you're an owner of a basement waterproofing company, everyone loves free clicks, free leads, and everyone loves local SEO. Why? Well, people trust local SEO over the ads. When it says sponsored, that's a Google ad on the top of the page, which we'll cover. That's local service ads or Google guaranteed. And people trust local SEO. Pretty proven. It's Local SEO leads have a much higher contact rate. Many of you use something like Angie and some other services. And what I hear often, I mean, I use them back when they were called Service Magic and then Home Advisor and now Angie. And there's a contact rate issue. You're buying leads constantly and you often can't get a hold of them. Well, with local SEO, when you get these leads, they're very reachable. You can get in touch with them. There's good intent. When it comes to Google Ads, which are very popular in this space, and local service ads and Angie, they're very expensive. Just a few years ago, Angie leads in basement waterproofing was about $50, and now they're averaging about $75. It's a huge jump in prices for leads. And the last reason I'm going to show you is that the data really supports. If you look at Google Analytics, you're going to see a lot of your traffic is coming from local SEO. So you're going to want to dominate in that space. Everyone loves the free leads. Everyone wants as many free leads as possible. So that's what we're going to talk about today. In light of how important it is, I know we all kind of play videos in the background and multitask, but this is such a good, important topic. I'd ask you to try to reduce those distractions and listen in. I will be brief and to the point, and I'll try to provide you as much good, relevant content that's going to help you win. Quick background about me. Let's see. I did write a book. I think it's the only book on basement waterproofing and digital marketing on the market. I do have a podcast. Love for you to listen and give feedback. We interview a lot of successful basement waterproofing companies and even some suppliers and sponsors to the industry. This agency is an award-winning Google agency. I've been flown to Google 3 different times for winning contests and so on. I am a digital marketing coach. I coach between 25 and 30 digital marketing agencies, and I am the president of the Basement Health Association. I've been in this space about 27 years, and that's why we just focus on basement waterproofing and foundation repair companies. We really know and understand that space. All right, so I'm just going to start really basic. I don't want to make any assumptions, although I will later on. But anyway, what's the difference between organic and paid search? Very simply, organic is free. You don't have to pay for it. And then paid search, you're paying either Google Ads or somebody. Now, the argument to that is, okay, well, organic leads are free, but you kind of either need to be really good at this or you kind of need to pay someone to help you rank. There's truth to that, but you're not paying Google directly for those leads. So if I were to do a typical search, I like to focus on the phrase basement waterproofing. It's considered the money word in our space. On the top of the page, you're going to have what's referred to as Google Guaranteed or LSA, local service ads. So this is about 3 years old or so. And this is Google just flexing their muscles and trying to get into every single industry in the world. And so now Google is selling leads just like Angie is. When you see sponsored, that's referring to Google Ads. And notice how Google is putting all this paid stuff on the top. Here's local service ads, and then here's their Google Ads platform. Both are pay-to-play programs, and they're pushing that local SEO further down the page. Now, we've all seen this map section, and this is the local SEO part. So typically there's just 3. Some people refer to this as the 3-pack, but this is the map section, and Google is even allowed to have a Google ad right on top of these, and it will say sponsored. The first one, this image does not have that. So this is the 3-pack, and then when you hit this phrase, more businesses, you're then brought to this Google Maps section. And this is fun for me to see because then you can see all the different competitors that are listed here. Now notice in this section, Google allows 2 different Google ad listings. So here's one and here's one. And then the rest is organic or local SEO. So let me go back for a second. So this is considered local SEO organic. This is all local SEO organic. And then there's one more section, and that is this section down here below the maps, below the videos, below everything. Google kind of buries it, is also local organic. It's a mixed result. It's a blend. Sometimes they'll throw national companies in here. Sometimes we're competing against companies like Home Depot, Better Business Bureau, Mr. Fix-It kind of companies here. But oftentimes, much of this is local SEO companies. All of that is considered organic. Now I'm going to come back to that to prove a point and to try to motivate you to be engaged in local SEO because it's all going to affect your rankings. But if you understand what Google counts as local SEO with your Google Analytics, you're going to understand how much traffic you actually get from local SEO. All free leads, which is wonderful. All right, I'm going to give you 3 examples. These 3 examples are 3 different basement waterproofing companies. One's in the Midwest, one's on the East Coast, and one's kind of in between. I'm going to show you screenshots of their analytics over a 30-day period. And here's the first one. Here's the channel, the source of traffic. This is organic search. This is paid search, Google Ads. This is direct. This means they typed the company in directly. And I'm not going to mention these really because you could even see time on site and the number. It's not that helpful. Most of our clients spend a pretty healthy budget on Google Ads, and that's representative in these three. Now, in this first example, 49% of all the traffic is coming from organic search. So all this traffic, 610 sessions, was all free. I want to point out another thing, and that is the average, it's basically the average time on site. In this example, when someone comes in through local SEO or organic, they're spending 1 minute and 42 seconds on the website. Compared to paid search, they're spending under 1 minute, which to me is really interesting. The longer someone spends on a site, on a page, the more interested they are. So local SEO is pulling an audience that's much more engaged than paid ads. All right, so that's the first example. Second example is 47% of all the traffic is coming in through organic search. Once again, average time on site is 1 minute. Paid search is 44 seconds, significantly less. The audience is much more engaged on organic search. And then, almost half of their traffic is all free. Last one I'll give you is 71% of all their traffic is organic and once again free. And once again, we see the average time on site is 1 minute and 9 seconds versus 40 seconds. Significant difference, much more engaged audience, all of it free. That's part of the reason why we really try to dominate in the local SEO area, because it supports our clients for lots of free leads. So I'm going to cover some of the tips and tricks of how we get all this free traffic in local SEO. So, does anyone want more free leads? Absolutely. There's a great return on free leads. I want to refer to a third-party article. It's very authoritative in the industry that I work in. This is a survey. It's done almost every year, but it's a survey of about 40 of the top local SEO experts in the United States. And their results are summarized, and I'm going to walk you through the more important ranking factors on how to rank high. All right, so this is a chart I like to refer to. And let me just start with the first three. When we talk about the 3-pack that I mentioned, or the local pack, or the Google Maps, the algorithm is the same. And the only three I'm going to mention are the Google Business Profile signals, on-page signals, and review signals. Review signals is easiest to explain. It's not just the number of reviews, nor the rating that you have. It's really the quality and it's the quality of the reviews as well. Google owns a patent to actually read reviews and then to be able to rate those and to give credit to your listing. So that's 16% of your ranking. And that's part of the reason why we push our clients so hard to get reviews. Now, let me go up from here. On-page signals refers to your website. Do you have good quality content on your website? Do you talk about various city pages? Is it helpful and useful? Those are on-page signals. And then the highest percentage comes from your Google Business Profile listing in the many different ways to get signals on that. That's all I'm going to touch on now. I'm going to unpack these as we go forward. All right, good question. What are signals? If I go back here, can I go back? Yep. The number one word that we see more than any other word on this page is signals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6 plus 7 here. That is 13 different times the word signals is on this page at least. So be good to know what signals are. Signals are indicators Google looks for when considering whom to rank. So here's some examples of different signals. The proximity of your office versus where the person is searching what category you chose to explain your business, what keywords are in your Google Business Profile name. I mentioned on-page signals. Do you have a name, address, phone number on every page of your website? What are the keywords in your title tag? What kind of domain authority do you have? Review signals, I mentioned those. It's not only the quality and the quantity, but they're actually reading them. Link signals, behavioral signals are becoming more and more important to Google. Some people refer to them as engagement signals. So what is an engagement signal? It's someone that interacts with your content. They might click the links that you put on the pages and read more about it. They might spend a lot of more time on a page. That would be another engagement signal. It's part of the reason why videos are so helpful, because people love videos. So when you put a video on a page, they tend to watch the video, and then you have a higher time on site. So that's another signal to Google that says your content is helpful and relevant. So that's all I'm going to cover for signals. There's a lot of different ways to get signals. So, question. For the map pack and the Google Maps, where you're getting a lot of traffic, what are the major areas that contribute to the ranking? So I covered this. Google, a bunch of signals, right? I'm actually going to make it easy for you and rank them. So the first and most important one, based on the survey from the local SEO experts, is the category that you pick. Let me go off screen here a little bit. Tell me if you can see this or not. Feel free to message me if you can't see, because I went off of the presentation. And I'm going to go to a local listing. I don't know what I'm on, but I'm just going to click this one. And I'm going to go in the map section. And I am going to click this cool little tool that I have. And it's going to tell me the categories of this business. So waterproofing service, that's where you should be. And then concrete contractor, contractor, foundation, general contractor. I see this one way too often. In this world of Google, this word foundation is referring to some kind of a fundraising organization that acts as a charity that gives money. You don't want to use the word foundation here. Now, not to confuse the heck out of you, but when it comes to local service ads or Google Guaranteed, you do want to use the word foundation, because when Google uses the word foundation on that platform, they are referring to foundation repair. But when it comes to your Google listing, you don't want to include foundation here. So Google allows 1 primary and 9 secondary categories. Don't ever add categories that don't relate to your company or your service, like installation contractor. I don't know what company I clicked, but typically a waterproofer doesn't do installation contractor. I'm thinking this primarily refers to an attic. So getting back to the slides that I have, the category is absolutely critical. All right, here's another one. I'm kind of off script here a little bit. The second most important one, and I think you're going to find this interesting, and it's, to me, there's a flaw in Google's algorithm at this stage of the game. But the second one is what keywords are in your company name. So if the money word in our industry is basement waterproofing, these folks are in a pretty good place. They do have waterproofing, and then they do have the second most important keyword, foundation repair. So that's good. This is good. Basement waterproofing, foundation solutions. So to me, this person's at a disadvantage, because if you go to the ranking factors, you have the keywords in the Google Business Profile in the title. And if you look at this one, basement waterproofing does not exist. Now, nor does foundation repair. Now, foundation does, but they're at a bit of a disadvantage. Fortress Foundation Solutions, I don't see a basement waterproofing. This one, no basement waterproofing. Bit of a slight disadvantage. Now, do you want to keyword stuff here? I could show you an example. Covered that one. I have an example of keyword stuffing. I mean, you definitely don't want to do this. You don't want to keyword stuff every single, keyword that relates to trying to find a customer for our industry. This is a terrible, or it's a good example, but you definitely just don't want to do this. Your listing could come down if you try to keyword stuff. But then the question is, well, how do you, what if you have an incorporated name and it doesn't have basement waterproofing in it? You could, for not a lot of money, you could make it a DBA name. Doing business as it doesn't cost a lot of money to do a DBA name and then put basement waterproofing in your name and then make it legal. That's kind of the way it works. Now, if you decide to keyword stuff a business name in here and just put, like in this example, let's say this company just says, oh, I'm going to put Virginia basement waterproofing in here. Someone could report you and Google could take your listing down. When you get reported, it does cause a manual review. Most everything at Google is automated until they get stuff like this. And then if Google checks it out and they look online and they figure it out, you could lose your listing. So you don't want to do that. But the legal way is getting a DBA and changing it. Is it worth it? I think it is. Okay, a third really important one, and I think a lot of people are familiar with this one. It's a frustrating one to people because people want to kind of dominate their city. And sometimes they have an office that's outside of the city, and it's hard to rank the further away you are from the big city or the big town that you want to do business in if you don't have an office nearby. So proximity of address to the point of search. Now, if you notice in this example that I have, the number one ranking one is 450 feet away and or meters. The next one is 900 meters. So these are, this is a dentist. There's like, every town has like 20 dentists. So they're ranking the ones that are very, very close to the center in the search. So most businesses will rank number one in the town. Like, if your IP address is in whatever, Sunset, Virginia, and you do a search for basement waterproofing, you're probably going to show up number one because you're doing a search in that city. And the further away that you go, the lower you're going to rank typically. All right. Here's a question. Well, local rankings are often different on every single street corner. It's kind of the point I was driving home. If you're on your phone and you're looking for a McDonald's, let's say, and there's a McDonald's everywhere, right? So you're trying to not use your phone and drive, you're at a red light, you pull up McDonald's and you see Google's going to show you 3 or 4 in any typical city. And then you drive half a mile or a mile down the road and you do another search, you're going to have a different order of the McDonald's. You're probably going to be closer to the next one down the street. And that's how this works. This is my point here. So if your office is here, basement waterproofing, if you do a search probably here and here, you're going to rank number one. The further away you are, you're going to rank lower. Here is, we do something, I'm kind of sharing a secret here. We do something for our clients to create massive amounts of signals. It's above board and legit, and it really helps our clients rank. But I'm going to show you 3 examples of a GeoGrid, and I'm going to show you search results in different areas. And I'm going to use the same city, and I'm going to use the same phrase, basement waterproofing, but I'm going to show you 3 different examples of what that might look like. So I'm using the city of Long Island, New York. It's the most populated area in the United States per square mile, and it's also surrounded by water. So you can imagine they have quite a few waterproofers in that area. Here's the first example. This isn't that far from what I typically see. So what I'm looking at is a geogrid, and every 2 miles there's a new dot, and inside that dot is a number, and that number represents where the company is showing up on the map pack. So on the outside, further away from the company, we have 20 plus, which means it's over 20, and the software is not going to count it if it's over 20. Now in the middle, there's threes. You have 3 dots of 3. Oftentimes I see 1, they're the number 1. In this one, there's some 3s and there's some 4s in the middle of Long Island here, which is where the company is located. So that's what a geogrid. So there's 9 across and 9 down, and there's a new dot every 2 miles, and then there's a ranking. So depending on where you are, it's going to affect your ranking. So that's probably a normal one. Let me show you a horrible one. And honest to goodness, this is 100% legit. This is a waterproofing company that's actually open. I am sure they're 100% not aware of like what local SEO is, how it works, or anything. I have the 9 across and the 9 down, and I have a bunch of red X's, and there's only one circle with a number in it, and it's the number 19. And I'm sure that's where the office is located. So even in their hometown, they're ranked 19th. So imagine the amount of traffic that they're losing because they're not paying attention to local SEO. They don't understand it. I don't know what's going on, but this is a real reading. Now, this is one of our clients in Long Island, New York, and we have the 9 dots across, 9 dots down, and we have a bunch of 1s, like more 1s than anything else, and then there's some 2s and there's some 3s. So with the local pack and the Google Maps, this company is ranked in the top 3 pretty much. 9 miles, or it's going to be 81 miles across and 81 miles down, which is a huge area. So how we do it, how we get a lot of signals is we use some software that is press released, and it our blogs, which we optimize through things like citations and internal and external links and photos and title tags and H1, H2 tags and so on. We put all the right data in there, and then just that gets released to lots and lots of different platforms, and it sends lots of signals to Google to let this company know that it's important and you need to rank them high. This is just, in one blog, we're sending 476 signals to Google to let them know that, hey, you need to rank our client. Here's another one, 1,560 signals. All right. So here's another tricky one. I mentioned it very briefly. We've had this issue, and sometimes someone says, hey, I have, let's say it's Chicago, and they're frustrated that they're not ranked higher in the city of Chicago. So Google considers the center of the town differently to every different city. And you have to figure out where that is, because when Google says like that, where those 2 streets cross, that's the center of town. So they're going to weight that cross street as the center, and that's more important. So it depends on where your company is located based on that center. So if you're ever thinking of setting up a satellite office, you need to know what Google is considering the center of that town, because you're going to want to be close to that. So that's what this one's about. Okay, earlier on I mentioned I was going to talk about this. So there's an issue with spammy links, and we like to have those removed, as any good agency would. Here is the challenge. Google is just inundated with requests to remove spammy links. And most agencies that I know will limit the request to 5. And the truth of the matter is, like, it just really seems that Google is not removing spammy links. They just don't do it. There's too many requests, there's not enough manpower, and they don't do it. So like we'll put 5 in, 5 requests in, like once a month. And, that's about it. It's just not worth it. They're just so backed up. And I think that Google's going to make this less of a ranking factor. So that's what's going on with spammy links. All right, there's lots and lots of factors. I just hit the important ones. Before I go on, let me do kind of a quick evaluation of a Google knowledge card, like a Google business listing. I don't know what company this is, and the first thing that I look at is you can't really we don't have a lot of control over the company name, but I want to see 50 photos in here as a starter, and then photos should be added on a regular basis. So there's plenty of photos here to kind of have a foundation, which is great. So let me go back to overview. Good descriptions. There's decent reviews. They have a good rating, 4.8, 59 reviews. Nice job. They have a lot of services filled out here. That's another good thing. Latest updates. So this is where we get a lot of signals because we're tying our blogs to the Google listing. So the last one came from January 25th and then November 29th. So there's not much going on here as far as updates and content for people to engage. I do like that there's a video here, and it is smart to put videos in your listing, but there's not much activity going on here. So to me, these are lost opportunities. There's a few other things that could be going on here, and that is, I don't see, you could take every one of your services. So I would go to their website, and I'm sure they list their services, and I would go into the listing and I would make products out of every one of those services. I would also post question and answers, and I don't see them on here either. So these things that I'm mentioning are just ways to send more signals to Google. Now, there is one thing that I like that they're doing. They're responding to all the reviews. Good for them. Good or bad, you should respond to every single review. And even if you have super old ones, respond to them. And if you have ones like this, everyone has them. You can't please everybody. There's usually, two sides of the story, but be aware that when someone reads this, they're kind of siding with the negative review. So don't get defensive. Take ownership. Like this, contact us ASAP. We want to fix it. That's good. All right. Back to the presentation. Some questions here. Has the local SEO Google algorithm changed over the years? It has. Let me explain this so you know what you're looking at. This column that's in blue, or what is that? Like a light blue or something? That's from 2015. And then I'm going to compare it to 2023. So one of the trends that we see is Google business profile. Like they would love for everyone to not even have a website. They would much more prefer everyone to stay on their platform. And so you see here, if you compare it to 8 years ago, Google is saying, hey, the more that you engage in our platform, we like that, and we're going to rank you higher because they want you to add photos and content and your hours and question and answers and even videos, and they'll pull your reviews. Why? Because the more information on your listing, the more people don't even need to go to your website, and then you're staying on the Google platform. So that's one of the trends that we're seeing. I want to point out this fourth one over. 8 years ago, link signals were really important. And as you see, every time this has been run, links become less and less important to Google. Something to note. Another one is citations. I think there's still some agencies out there that try to scare owners into saying like, your Google listing is all screwed up, and the reason why you don't rank is because your citations are messed up. I still see that stuff, and Google has downplayed citations. That was true when Google was dumb, and now Google is smart. So citations are devalued. So those are just some trends. Review signals are pretty consistent. I highly recommend just get as many reviews as you can. You have to ask. It's just part of today's world. All right, how about this one? What are the factors that contribute to ranking for local organic? So again, local organic is way in the bottom of the page. It goes local or Google guaranteed, Google ads. Then sometimes you have people also ask section in there. Sometimes you have videos, but then you have your map pack. And then towards the bottom there, you have your organic stuff. So what contributes that? I'm just going to talk about the first two: on-page signals, which is the content on your website, and then link signals. So for this section towards the bottom of of the search results, that's where link signals play a bigger part. And you saw the trend. The trend is kind of down towards link signals. But those are the two big ones. And then there's like lots of little ones that add up. All right, how about this one? What individual factors have the biggest impact for local organic? Number 3, rankings. A dedicated page for each service. That really helps. Internal linking across the website. I mean, anyone doing SEO is going to have internal linking. So that's you definitely want that. And then quality, authority of inbound links. So if you can get inbound links from like quality websites, that's a good thing. Some common inbound links are, Angie's List, Better Business Bureau, Basement Health Association. These kind of things are good links. Now, if you are like a sponsor, even of a softball team or some kind of a baseball team, and they have a website and you can get a link, that's awesome. If you can't get a link, even if you have a mention, Google is smart enough to give you credit just for that mention, and that kind of just supports like local SEO, that you're involved in the community. What are the conversion factors? What helps turn web visitors into leads? So we don't just want web visitors, right? You want the phone to ring. You want to be able to put a rep in front of a customer. So conversion factors, Google rating. Yes, people look at this stuff. And there's been a lot of studies on this. So we do have several clients that have like a 5.0 rating. And the studies would say that if you have a 4.8, that's actually the most credible rating, more so than even a 4.9 and a 5.0. Because sometimes when people see 5.0, they almost feel like, oh, come on, really? Like you've never, ever, ever, ever upset a customer. Is that real? Come on. So 4.8 is really, really good. It's highly respected according to the surveys. And then really pay attention when you get that, 1-star review, which we all get. When you get those, really pay attention to how you respond. There's been quite a lot of business that has occurred from people reading negative reviews, but then being really impressed with how the company responds to it. So really don't get defensive and really be aware of how future people will be reading that. Because, let's admit it, don't we go to those negative reviews? We're like, hey, what's going on here? We want that drama. We want to read about it and we want to see the owner's response. Positive sentiment in a review. So I mentioned that Google owns a patent to be able to read reviews and give credit to the sentiment. Mobile-friendly websites. This is an area that often gets overlooked. Well, probably 50, sometimes I've seen up to 70% of traffic coming to websites are from mobile. And I think they don't get checked enough. They absolutely should have a call now button and treat everyone like they're in 3rd grade and, tell them, click here or call now or something. Don't just assume that just because your phone number is clickable, that someone's going to know to actually click it. Tell them to, click it and call now. Click here. Make it really obvious. More about reviews, dedicated service pages, completeness of Google Business Profile. This is a little bit of an obvious one. So let me ask you a question. If you If you go to a Google business profile and there's one picture and there's the name and the address, they don't have their hours, they don't have any question and answer. Um, there's no postings, there's no information. Like, is that something you want to engage in? No. I mean, you're going to glance at it and be like, not even sure if these people are in business. But then if you go to another Google business profile and there's lots of videos and photos and even pictures of happy customers, there's question and answers, there's lots of posts. Of course, you're going to engage into that. And Google is going to give you credit for that. So they're going to rank you higher for that. All right, some myths. I'm not going to cover a lot, but I'm just going to cover some. In this space, some people think that they can take pictures. Let's say my company is Basement Waterproofing Virginia. And some people think they could take, 50 pictures and tag them. There's 3 different ways to tag a photo. Tag them Basement Waterproofing Virginia and think that they'll get credit by Google for tagging these photos. Well, Google can figure out where the photo was taken, so that doesn't work. It's just a myth. Keywords in the Google business profile description, it's important to have those in there so people can read them, but Google's not going to give you weight to say like, oh, okay, they have a lot of keywords, these people keyword stuff, we're going to give credit for that. Doesn't happen. The last one I'll mention is if you're going to add questions and answers to your Google business profile, which I would encourage you to do, just know that how you respond, if you're keyword stuffing, Google's not going to pay any attention to your answer and to try to rank that higher, that whole listing higher, because you use a lot of keywords from the industry. Just some myths out there. Google's getting really smart. Harder to trick them. Okay, you do need to be aware of suspension risk. I do have these conversations with people. I highly recommend it. Don't play with these. So if you have a PO box or UPS, I mean, it's probably already been shut down. If it's a false address, you are risking someone reporting you and then you having to re-verify it. There's been many people that have had to re-verify things and make a video and submit it, and has to be a sign on the door. You have to get out of a truck with the company logo on it, and you have to show the address, and you have to walk in and make sure, that's how Google's doing things, video verification. So you don't want to risk that. I'm going to go with number 4, review gating. So some people like to ask the question like, hey, on a scale of 1 to 5 or on a scale of 0 to 10 NPS survey, how happy are you? If we're doing the NPS survey, it would be, if it's 9 or 10, cool. I'm going to say, great. Can you leave us a review? That's review gating. So you don't want to do that. Reports of review gating will cause a manual evaluation by Google. You don't want to lose your listing. So I wouldn't recommend that. Of course, if your site gets hacked, that's an issue. All right. So in conclusion, there is massive amounts of local SEO traffic. You really want to take advantage of it. You're going to want to dominate your space. If you're not working with an agency, what can you do? You need to learn about local SEO. You need to be adding your photos. You need to be turning your services into products. You need to be adding question and answers, and you need to be posting on a regular basis and tie all your posts to your Google listing. Those are just some of the things that you really need to do on a regular basis. If you're working with an agency, actually, I come across companies like probably 2 or 3 a month that call me and they ask me to do an evaluation, and I look at, what's going on, and I point things out, and they are paying agencies and they think they're getting SEO or local SEO, and like nothing's happening. There's no work being done. It happens all the time. So now that if you've made it through this far, some things that should be happening with your local SEO rankings. We have a free giveaway. Thank you for making it this far. we have a wonderful checklist on how to win and dominate in local SEO. It's got setup and then it's got ongoing activities, and we're happy to email that out to you. If you would like, let me cover a few things here. All right, so here kind of is some specifics. Complete your Google Business Profile listing, add photos, services, turn them into products, question and answer, create a culture of customer reviews, regularly add good quality content. Check your Google Search Console. So in past years, Google was not great at communicating to us website owners if there was issues, but they're a lot better at it now. So regularly check your Google Search Console, log in, and if there's issues or errors or things that Google's concerned about, they're going to tell you there. Obtain authoritative, relevant incoming links, especially local ones. It's great for your local SEO. And, I always say this, internet marketing, there's usually not a few like magic wands and we could magically change things. It's usually paying attention to 1,000 little things. So pay attention to those little things, fix them, stay up to date with things. All right. If you would like a free strategy session, I'm happy to help out with that. Some of the things we'll look at is your keywords and your website, your reviews, your social presence, how convertible your website is, the content that you're adding, web speed, and I'll cover lots of opportunities for you to take advantage of. So contact us if that's something you're interested in, and we will email out the checklist. That's all I have for you today. I hope that was helpful. Let me know if we could help.